All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to put the flashcards away for a bit. We're going to do something I think much more interesting than just memorizing phrases. You should think of this less like a basic lesson and more like a university-level lecture. We're going to deconstruct 3 fundamental Mandarin questions to understand not just what they mean, but how they're built, and maybe most importantly, why they reveal so much about the logic and the culture of the language itself.
So here's our syllabus for today. First, we're going to dissect the question of name and identity. Then we'll explore the ideas of place and belonging. And finally, and this is a big one, we'll take a really close look at age and hierarchy, a topic where language and culture are just completely intertwined. The goal here is to get you speaking not just correctly, but with real cultural insight. All right, let's dive right into this with the first and, probably the most common question you'll ever come across. Introducing yourself. It seems so simple on the surface, but its components, well, they tell a pretty fascinating story. Let's start with the full sentence. I'm going to say it once at a natural pace. Just listen for the rhythm, the tones. 你叫什么名字? Okay, now let's slow it way down. I want you to try and say it along with me, focusing on each individual sound. Ready? 你叫什么名字? Can you hear those dips and rises? That's the music of the language right there. This is the big question, isn't it? For any serious language learner, this is where you have to start. Because a sentence isn't just some random string of sounds. It's like a piece of architecture, carefully constructed. So let's grab our linguistic tools and start taking it apart, piece by piece. Our very first character is ni, which means you. Now, the single most common mistake I hear from new students is a flat tone, ni. But it's not ni, it's ni. It has what we call a third tone, which means your voice has to fall and then rise. Let's try it together. I'll say it, you repeat. Ni, ni. One more time. Ni. Good. Imagine your voice just dipping down and then scooping right back up. That little detail makes all the difference between sounding like a beginner and speaking with real clarity. Okay, next up is the verb 就. Now this is where things get really cool. Take a look at its structure, specifically that little square on the left side. See it? That is the character 口, which means mouth. We call this a radical, and it's like a powerful clue about the character's meaning. So when you see this mouth radical, your brain should immediately think of something related to speaking or calling or even eating. So it makes perfect sense that 就 means to be called or to shout. The clues are right there in the character. And here we have our question word 什么, which means what. This is your go-to all-purpose tool for asking for information. In our sentence, it's doing exactly what you'd expect. It's asking what about the object of the sentence, which in this case is the name. And this is just a beautiful illustration of the poetry that's hidden inside so many Mandarin characters. The word for name is 名字. Let's just focus on that first character, Ming. It's actually made of 2 older characters squished together. On top, you have si, which means evening or dusk. And what's on the bottom? There it is again, ko, the mouth. Now, picture this. Thousands of years ago, as it gets dark, you can't see someone's face. So how do you know who it is? You call out with your mouth. Your name is literally what is called out in the evening. It's a tiny story, not just a symbol. Isn't that amazing? So, let's put all those pieces back together. We have our subject, ni, you, our verb, 叫, our called, and our object, 什么名字, what name. For any of you who have struggled with other languages, with all their complex conjugations and crazy word orders, this should be a breath of fresh air. Basic Mandarin sentence structure is subject, verb, object. It's incredibly direct, it's logical, and it's your friend. All right, let's move on and see how this all builds. We've established who you are, so the next logical step is to explore the equally important question of where you're from, a question that's deeply connected to identity and community. Okay, here's our second key question. Let's hear it. Again, try to say it with me. 你是哪里人? The tones go third, fourth, third, second. Let's try that one more time, feeling the flow. 你是哪里人? It's got this nice inquisitive rhythm to it, doesn't it? And just like our first question, this one is way more than the sum of its parts. The grammatical heart of this sentence is the verb 是. This is your essential to-be verb. Am, is, are. Think of it as the equal sign of the language. It just links the subject, ni, to the description or identity that comes after it. It's a word you are going to use constantly.
following that verb, we get our next question word, 哪里. This is a straightforward, essential piece of vocabulary. It means where, and it pinpoints the exact information that we're looking for, the place. And our final character is run, which means person. This is one of the most elegant and ancient characters in the language. It's a pure pictograph. I mean, you can clearly see the two strokes representing two legs, a person literally in the act of walking. It's simple, it's beautiful, and it's instantly memorable. Okay, so here is the really crucial insight, the grammar. The sentence literally translates to, you are where person? And this little structure reveals an incredibly powerful and useful formula. Place plus ren. If you want to state your nationality, you just take the name of the country and add the character for person. America, 美国, becomes an American, 美国人. China, 中国, becomes a Chinese person, 中国人. Once you get this formula down, you can state the nationality for any country you know the name of. It's a fantastic grammatical shortcut. All right, for our final question, we're moving into an area where just knowing the words is absolutely not enough. This question about age is a perfect case study in why understanding the cultural context is essential if you want to avoid accidentally offending someone. So let's listen to the phrase, 你几岁? It's short, it's simple, and it seems totally harmless. But, and I can't stress this enough, I want you to mentally attach a huge warning label to this question. Asking this of the wrong person can be a very serious social mistake. The entire key, the whole reason this is so sensitive, is packed into this one little character, 几. Now, it means how many, but, and this is the critical part, it is only used when you're asking about a small quantity, almost always a number under 10. You would ask a child how many candies they have using 几. You would never ask a CEO how many thousands of employees their company has using 几. Now, the final word, 岁, is simply the measure word for years of age. It's basically the years old part of the sentence. That part is straightforward, but whether it's polite or not depends completely on the question word that comes right before it. So let's connect the dots here. If 几 is used for small numbers, what are you implying when you ask a grown adult, 你几岁? You are linguistically suggesting that their age is a small number, like a child's. Now, in a culture that traditionally values respect for elders and has a much clearer sense of social hierarchy, this is not a tiny mistake. It can be seen as talking down to someone, as being deeply disrespectful. Imagine the impression you'd make in a business meeting or meeting your partner's parents for the first time. This isn't just trivia. For anyone who's going to live or work in a Chinese-speaking environment, this is absolutely essential knowledge for building good relationships. So how do you ask an adult their age politely? Well, you use a completely different sentence. 您多大? First, notice the pronoun. It changes from 你 to 您. 您 is the formal, respectful version of you. And look closely at the character. It's the character for you, 你, with the character for heart, 心, right underneath it. You're literally addressing them with your heart. Then instead of 几, we use 多大, which translates literally to how big or how great. You are respectfully asking about the greatness of their age. It's a totally different feeling. So as we wrap this up, I really hope it's clear that learning these phrases is just the beginning. The real goal is to understand the logic, the history, and the cultural values that are baked right into the language. That is the difference between simply speaking and speaking with true insight. I want to leave you with an analytical toolkit that you can apply to every new sentence you ever learn. First, deconstruct the characters. Look for those radicals, look for the pictographs, find the hidden stories. Second, analyze the grammar. Find the pattern. Is it subject-verb-object? Is it using a cool formula like place plus jin? And finally, always consider the context. Who's saying this, to whom, and why is this the right way to say it? If you use this approach, every new phrase becomes a puzzle to solve, a piece of history to uncover, and a lesson in culture. You're no longer just memorizing words. You're becoming a linguistic detective. So I guess the only question left is this. What stories are you going to uncover in the next sentence you learn?